So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case.
And sitting here today,
Senator, 72% of Americans have lost faith in the Department of Justice.
Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You can't answer that question.
Brought to me.
You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us,
I'm
are you
sitting here as a
aware?
nominee.
Just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news
Are
is
you aware
horrible.
of a?
Do I know if he committed a crime? I have not looked
You seem reluctant to answer a simple question. Let me ask you a different simple question.
Adam Schiff didn't come here to spar. He came to test a guardrail. In just seconds, this exchange reveals whether the Justice Department still answers to the law or to the president. Watch this carefully.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, as you know, the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States held the president has absolute immunity to commit crimes in certain core areas of the president's responsibility. One of those core areas is the Justice Department. So in a breathtakingly dangerous and irresponsible decision, Justice Roberts and the majority held the president could commit crimes using the Department of Justice and be immune from prosecution. Justice Sotomayor correctly said this new immunity lies about like a loaded weapon. So the fear and the concern we have is that the incoming president will use that loaded weapon, that immunity, to commit crimes through the Department of Justice. And for that reason, it is all the more important that we have an attorney general who has the independence, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to say no to the president when it is necessary. So my first set of questions has to do whether you have the independence to say no when you must say no. And you can say this is hypothetical, but it is not hypothetical. So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case.
And sitting here today,
Senator, 72% of Americans have lost faith in the Department of Justice.
Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You can't answer that question. You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging law enforcement sensitive information. So just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news is horrible.
Aware of a?
Do I know if he committed a crime? I have not looked.
You seem reluctant to answer a simple question. Let me ask you a different simple question. The president also wants to jail Liz Cheney. Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that question.
No, it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one has asked me to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a hypothetical.
The president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president has.
We're also worried about Liz Cheney, Senator.
The president has called for this.
You know what we should be worried about?
Ms. Bondi, please answer my questions.
California right now is through the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
your robberies are 87% higher than the national average.
My question is this.
That's what I want to be focused on, Senator.
Do you have the power to say no to the president? And what you're suggesting today by your non-answer is you don't have the independence to say no to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you can speak to the president. Can you tell us, can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I
No, I'm
won't
just
do it.
asking you a simple
I
question.
won't play
If you can
politics
speak truth
with any ongoing
to power.
investigation,
So let me ask you another.
like you did
let me-
leaking your
let me ask
colleague
you-
Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one. Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Senator, I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in
No, I know you want to
Pennsylvania.
answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Was there
I
or
can
was there
tell
not?
you what I saw when I went
That's
as an
not my,
advocate
that's
to
not
the
my
campaign.
question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It will also be important that you give good advice to the president. Are you prepared to advise the president not to pardon people who beat police officers?
Senator, as I said, the pardons are at the direction of the president. We will look and we will advise. I will look at every case on a case.
so you
Let me
look at-
finish. On a case-by-case
Okay,
basis.
okay, good.
And I
let me
abhor violence to police officers.
follow up with that. So will it be your advice to the president, Mr. President? I know you said you want to issue hundreds of pardons on day one. Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files
And
for
will
the
you be able to
pardons, as
do?
well
Will
as
you
the
be able to
ongoing
review
investigation.
hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am
Of course
asked
you
to
won't.
look
So
at.
will you advise the
Hey,
president?
can I
Will
answer
you-
the question?
Well, my question
I would
is-
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
You'll be able to review
Listen, I'm
hundreds
not
of
going to
cases on the first
mislead
day?
this body, nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me ask
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress, Senator, for
it will
comments just like this that are so reckless.
It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do you
department.
see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're
Why do
frightened
you
now?
have
I can't
difficulty?
believe this is even.
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
It shouldn't be a difficult question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, I know that you are pleased that we are moving to the end of round one, and we appreciate your being here.
This exchange between Adam Schiff and Pam Bondi isn't just tense, it's dangerous. Because for the first time, Congress is confronting what it actually means to live in a country where a president can commit crimes and claim immunity, and where the last line of defense may be the Attorney General. That's not theory anymore. That's the legal reality after the Supreme Court's ruling in Trump v. United States. In that decision, the court created something unprecedented, absolute criminal immunity for a president when acting within so-called core constitutional powers. One of those core powers is control over the Department of Justice. In plain terms, the court has now said a president can use the Justice Department to commit crimes and still be immune from prosecution. Justice Sonia Sotomayor warned that this ruling leaves presidential immunity lying about like a loaded weapon. Adam Schiff is operating from that exact premise. His questions aren't partisan, they're preventative. Because if external checks are weakened, courts, prosecutors, future accountability, then the Attorney General becomes the last internal safeguard, the person who must be able to say no when the president demands something unlawful. That's what Schiff is testing. He starts with something concrete, not hypothetical. Donald Trump has publicly said that Special Counsel Jack Smith should go to jail. Schiff doesn't ask Pam Bondi whether she would prosecute Smith. He asks a narrower, more responsible question. Is there any factual basis, any evidence that would justify an investigation at all? This should be one of the easiest answers an Attorney General nominee could give. If there's no evidence, the answer is no. But Bondi won't say it. Instead, she retreats into procedural language, needing to see files, review facts, examine circumstances. That sounds careful, but Schiff isn't asking her to open a case. He's asking whether she is currently aware of any evidence that would justify one. She isn't part of the department yet. There's no sensitive information at stake. There's no legal downside to answering honestly. The refusal isn't about caution, it's about leaving the door open. Schiff presses again, yes or no. Still no answer. That's the moment Americans should pay attention to, because an attorney general who cannot say there is no basis for this investigation is an attorney general who is preserving room for political retaliation. The same pattern repeats with Liz Cheney. Trump has publicly suggested she should be jailed. Schiff again asks a present-tense question. Are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney? Bondi calls it hypothetical. It isn't. The threat is public, the power is real, the immunity now exists. What she's avoiding is not speculation, it's commitment. Schiff then moves to something even more basic, truth-telling. Independence isn't only about resisting unlawful orders, it's about being willing to say things the president doesn't want to hear. So he asks a simple question. Can you say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Bondi won't say it, not because the facts are disputed, not because courts haven't ruled, but because acknowledging that truth would require independence from the president she would serve. Schiff follows up with an even clearer question. Was there massive fraud that changed the outcome of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Again, no answer. This matters because if an attorney general cannot state settled facts, they cannot enforce the law impartially. Truth becomes conditional. Reality becomes negotiable. Schiff then turns to January 6th, and this is where the stakes become institutional. He asks Bondi whether she will commit to preserving all evidence from the January 6th investigation. This is not controversial. This is not political. Evidence preservation is foundational to justice. Bondi responds, I will follow the law. That sounds reassuring until you understand what's missing. Schiff isn't asking whether she'll follow the law. He's asking for an affirmative commitment that evidence will not be destroyed. That commitment would limit future political interference, and once again, she won't make it. Throughout this exchange, a pattern emerges. Bondi never gives an answer that would restrict presidential power. She never draws a clear boundary. Every response preserves flexibility, not for justice, but for deference. This is why Schiff's frustration escalates. He's not chasing soundbites, he's probing whether the Department of Justice will remain an institution governed by law or become an instrument of presidential will in an era where immunity shields abuse. For Americans watching this, the takeaway isn't about Adam Schiff or Pam Bondi as individuals. It's about how democratic erosion actually happens, not with dramatic announcements, but with unanswered questions, with officials who won't commit to basic principles when commitment matters most. An attorney general doesn't defend democracy with slogans. They defend it by drawing lines, clearly, early, and publicly. And when those lines can't be drawn in a confirmation hearing, Americans should ask themselves why. If this analysis helped the public understand what was really at stake beneath this exchange, support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing it. These hearings aren't just political theater, they're warnings about how power may be used when accountability is weakened.